Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Playoff Edition here on the MMM Journal. I'm your host, Jim Biringer, filling in for Miguel Mike Medina. He's a little bit under the weather. Don't you worry. I got you covered here as we review the games from Tuesday night. Game one's in the books. 8 teams. 1-0. 8 teams 0-1. That's usually what happens. We got to talk West Coast, the Western Conference. The road teams, the road Warriors, 4-0 to start the year and the playoffs. Think about that. All the road teams in the West won. We talked about it on Tuesday's show. Talked about the Minnesota Wild. The Edmonton Oilers, they lost at home. LA Kings, they slowed down Connor McDavid. Don't know if they could do it again. It's going to be tough, but Philip Deneau figured out a way to do it. Tuesday night, though, the Seattle Kraken going to Colorado, take game one. Great effort by former Avalanche goalie Philip Grubauer. This was only his third playoff game. He had some time in Washington, but didn't see too much action outside of 2018 before he was replaced by Braden Holtby. He had a masterful game. The Kraken continue to play styling defense. Great team game, as always. And they've played Colorado tough all year. Think about that. They've gone into Colorado, played this great defensive game, slowed down McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, Georgiev. Yeah, he played okay, but he needs to play better for this Colorado Avalanche team to have a chance to repeat. And again, you can't overreact. It's the champs. Colorado always throws in a stinker or two in the playoffs. That's what they do. But the problem is there's no Gabriel Landeskog, and their second line center is going to be tested. The Kraken just roll 4 lines, and that's what they've been doing all year, despite the ups and flows, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of, the season. This is what they've done. Dave Hackstall's got this team playing a certain way. Look, I didn't think it was going to be a sweep. I thought maybe a gentleman's sweep, but Colorado, they're in for a fight. It reminds me of when Detroit was in with a fight with those Phoenix Coyotes back in 1997, or those Anaheim Duck teams that had Correa and Solani on them. Those Coyotes teams had Keith Tkachuk, Jeremy Roenick. They had some good goaltending and gave Detroit some fits. So you never know what can happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But one thing is for sure, the Seattle Kraken are for real. First playoff win in franchise history. Yes, it's their second year in the league, first time in the playoffs. And Elvi Tolvanen gets the first playoff goal in franchise Kraken history. Great game. Go on the road. This is what teams want to do. You take game one. Now you want to get a little bit greedy, but you hope for a split. Going down to Vegas. Little lateral move to Vegas. The Winnipeg Jets. They go in, take game one, and the power play problems for Vegas continue all the time. This is what's happened the last couple years in the playoffs outside of last year where they didn't make it. The power play is non-existent, and their power play was 1 for 15 to close the year, and it went 0 for 3 against the Winnipeg Jets on Tuesday night. Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuck does what he does. Winnipeg played a perfect road game, shut down the neutral zone. Kyle Connor, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Blake Wheeler had a great game. Adam Lowry had 2 goals. That's what they do. And when they play their game, they're one of the best teams in the league. I mean, through the first 45 games, they had one of the best records in the league. They had the best record in the West. But then they went up and down. But Connor Hellebuck has to be the Jets' best player, and he was. Now, speaking of Warriors, speaking of different breeds, hockey players are different breeds. Morgan Barron, early in the game, first period, there's a loose scramble in the front. Laurent Brossoit, former Winnipeg Jet goalie, is down, escape blade's up. Barron gets his face knocked in an escape blade. Luckily, he didn't lose his eye. Had a big cut, 75 stitches, puts the bird cage on, comes back out, plays the rest of the game. Hockey players are different, but kudos to Chandler Stevenson for recognizing what was happening, get his face off. Could have been worse. Thank God for the visor. People wear your visors the right way. So in the Western Conference, let's see what adjustments are going to be made. I don't know if LA is going to keep Connor McDavid off the score sheet again. We know what Leon Draisaitl can be. The Oilers, they have to play better defensively. They have to lock it down, especially in a lead. And again, goaltending again is going to come down for the Edmonton Oilers. You cannot give up bad goals. It's not like Stuart Skinner played horrible, but some of the timely goals, you need a save. Defensively, too many breakdowns. Darnell Nurse, what are you doing? That you should not leave Anze Kopitar wide open. I think you'll see a better effort. Power play was good for Edmonton, but LA always fights them tough. These series always are tough. Going back to the 80s when these teams were playing, when Gretzky got traded, these series is always tough. So we're going to see what adjustments are made there. We're going to see what adjustments Dallas makes. No Joe Pavelski in game 2. We kind of figured that after the hit by Matt Dumba. Say what you will about the hit. Clean, dirty, you want it. It's a shame Joe Pavelski went down. It's similar to what happened in that Vegas series towards the end. In that game 7, that wild, crazy thing where it was penalty, should have been a 5-minute. Everybody debated it. Minnesota goes into Dallas, does what it has to do. Kirill Kaprizov, great game. Ryan Hartman, Gustafsson steals the game. So, we talked about it on Tuesday. Let's see what adjustments Dallas makes, especially that top line that is now missing a big key piece because it was one of the best lines all year. Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Joe Pavelski. So let's see what Dallas makes. Eastern Conference, the New York Rangers go into New Jersey, take care of business. They handle their business. They look like the experienced team. They look like the better team. And the Rangers are expected to win this series. But New Jersey could put up a fight. Look, New Jersey had a power plays. First 10 minutes of the game, go 0 for 2, no shots, too much passing. They got to shoot the puck more if they're going to want to get back in the series. But kudos to the Rangers. Broken play leads to a Tarasenko goal, power play goal by Kreider. Adam Fox has 4 assists. And then when the Devils were charging, Igor Shesterkin's right there. I mean, that's what he does. He gets in your head, and I think the Devils showed their nerves, their jitters. They were there. Let's see if they can make any adjustments. Let's see what lineup changes they had. Again, it's game 1, but you have to think to yourself, okay, this is game 1. What's going to happen next? Because in Toronto, there's always an overreaction. There's an underreaction. Michael Bunting's probably going to get suspended for his hit on Chernak. So Chernak's gone. Hedman's a game time decision on Thursday night. So if the Lightning have those 2 big defensemen gone, and I think you would think Victor Hedman's going to try to play, but if he's gone, if those 2 are gone, the Toronto Maple Leafs have to take advantage of that. Use their speed, play well, get Matthew Knies in. He's probably coming in for Bunting anyway, but they got to figure this out. I mean, Marner, MIA again, Nylander, Matthew. This continuously cannot happen for the Toronto Maple Leafs in opening games. Now, they're 2-5 with this core group, but still, you can't go MIA, and it's going back now for Mitch Marner. The noise is going to come up. Why can't this guy perform in the playoffs? What is changing? Tampa coming in, their depth scoring, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, Stamkos, all those guys, they figure out a way to turn it on, and there it is. It's something about this Tampa Bay Lightning team. They figure it out. Again, it's only game 1. Andrei Vasilevsky played well, but Samsonov was awful. The whole defensive unit for Toronto was bad. They got to make some adjustments. It's going to be interesting what they see. You're listening to scouts and people talk. Maybe we see Joe Wall. He's played well down the stretch. He played against Tampa towards the end of the season in a quote-unquote meaningless game. If you're going to Joseph Wall, that says something about the guys you have there now, but he's earned a shot. Toronto's just got to figure it out. Get the game, get the win, let O'Reilly do his thing, let Achari play the way he's going to play, but just bad defensive plays. And, this is what leads to Tampa Bay winning on the road and doing what they continuously do, and that's win hockey games. Look, it's only one game. They don't hand out anything about one game in the first round. But, some teams could be in trouble. after Wednesday night. Look, Boston, no Bergeron, but should be fine. The way the Panthers are playing, they have so much depth. Boston will be fine. They've had adversity all year. The Islanders, if they go down 0-2 to Carolina, they can come back. Again, they got to just win games at home, but try to get a split there. Again, we talked about Dallas. We talked about Edmonton. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. Anything can happen. We'll see maybe some more entertaining games tonight. But this has been another episode of the Hockey Playoff Edition here on the Triple M, the MMM Journal. Jim Biringer filling in for Miguel Mike Medina. Hopefully be back together on Thursday. Take it easy. Enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs.